Welcome in to the Jackson Post West Tennessee High School Football Pick'em Contest. What week are we on? 6, 7?
Yeah.
Week. All right, yeah, well, math is very tricky. So week 7 here. This is podcasted on the Walker Talks Radio Podcast Network. You guys ready to get started?
Yeah.
Now, I should have said this. We closed the voting just because, like, right now, it's easy. You can't wait to the last week to pick the host. We closed the voting this week on the host. We ended up with 99 on the nose, 99 entries into the high school football pick'em contest. So one of those 99 human beings are going to win a big screen TV courtesy of Tony Nehall, Remax Realty Source, and Southeastern Termite and Pest Control. All you had to do was pick which host you thought would have the correct picks at the end of it. And Tony, you and I, here we are neck and neck. I've been in the lead or tied for the lead almost all year long, but you will not go away like a bad girlfriend just nipping on my heels.
I'm glad to be compared to something as glorified as a bad girlfriend. I appreciate that.
It's a bad girlfriend. I don't have the exact numbers, but you had of 99 total, you had like 58, 59 people pick you. So
Are they not watching the contest?
You have let America down. I keep thinking they think that Tony and I are going to choke at some point.
Here's what they're thinking, because I'm wearing my Bama shirt, that they're thinking that I'm Georgia, and in the second half, I'm going to mount a furious comeback. Unlike Georgia, I'm not going to let the 17-year-old Stretch Armstrong kid get the ball and go down and score on the first play.
Ryan Williams is unbelievable. I mean, that kid is, I have a stepson who's 17. I look at him all the time. I'm like, I bet he makes more money than you do.
Probably. He definitely makes more than my 17-year-old.
He probably makes more than all three of us, if I had to guess now with NIL. I'm sure he does just fine. Let's get started here. Region 7, 1A. Two good teams starting out. Greenfield, 4-2, 2-2 in the region. Going to South Fulton, 4-1, 2-1 on the region. Now, Union City gave both of these teams the business in one of their losses. This game is in South Fulton. I've had good luck with the Red Devils all season. That won't stop here. Give me South Fulton, mainly because Union City beat Greenfield worse than they beat South Fulton.
So, South Fulton, Greenfield's going to be a good football game. South Fulton has scored 229 points so far, but Greenfield's only scored 93. Greenfield's had a hard schedule, so that's part of that. South Fulton's definitely the favorite here, and they're going to win. Like Chuck said, they played Union City a lot better, 35-7 versus Greenfield 65-0. South Fulton for sure.
So the only reason I want to pick Greenfield in this one is that they are 4-2, and in both of their losses, they got shut out 41-0 by Humboldt and 65-0 last week by Union City. So if Greenfield wins, if Greenfield scores, they win. So far, I don't know if South Fulton's going to shut them out, but I do taking a safe pick. I'm 9 behind with I don't know how many weeks into the playoffs we're going to do this, but I know time is running out. So give me South Fulton, and maybe they'll shut Greenfield out and keep this trend going.
Everybody going with South Fulton. There for a minute, I thought Brandon was good, because that would strategically, Brandon, that would be the move once you now this is a regular season pick'em contest, so only going to week 10.
So we're just going to week 11. There's
week 11, yeah, 10 games, week 11, yeah, only going to week 11 here. So
okay.
I don't know if you want to go back on that pick.
No.
Brandon, I picked the games. I put 42 games that next week. We'll be picking Georgia schools that last week, Tony.
We'll be picking Alcoa versus Bluntville.
All right, Tony, you're up next. Region 6, 2A. Peabody, 2-4, but 2-1 in the region. Going to Camden, who's playing 500 football, 3-3, 1-3 in the region. We remember a few weeks ago, JCM went in Camden, had that big win. Tony, you didn't pick them, but I did. That's where you graduated from, but I love the Cougars. Who do you like here, Peabody or Camden?
I do like the Cougars. I just didn't believe like I should have. I'm starting to become a believer because they're 6-0. But we're not talking about the Cougars now. We're talking about Peabody, who may be one of the best, I think, 2-win teams. They only have 2 wins, I think. I don't have it written down. Around. It's a pretty even matchup here. The average scoring for Peabody is about 26. Camden scores about 28 a game. Common opponents, Riverside got both of them, but Peabody was more competitive, 28 to, I think, 18. Riverside beat Camden 47-14. They both smoked Gibson County, a little bit more on the Peabody. This is a tight game. I think Camden, being the home team, could pull this out, but I'm going to go with the stats, and Peabody's a good football team. They're going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's Camden has given us no reason to think that they're going to win this game. I mean, the only reason to think that they would win is because of Peabody, not because of them. But the reason that Peabody gives Camden reason to think that they could win is because Peabody has played a much tougher schedule. So Peabody is competing better in that tougher schedule, whereas Camden has shown that if they get down, I don't want to say they intentionally roll over and let the other team have it, but they definitely don't compete well either once they fall behind. So give me the Golden Tide.
Yeah, this is heading into week 7. This is Shane Jacobs right here. Tough start for Peabody, but that happened to him last year.
Some Georgia fans somewhere?
Give me Peabody for sure.
Are those some Georgia fans barking?
No, it's the stupid little feist in my son's room will not shut up. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Tell them Roll Tide, right?
I'm about to tell her, about to let her know what 4th and 14 in your own 20 feels like when we punt her down the field.
Brandon, you've got the next game here. Huntington 3-2, coming off a loss last week to Milan. So one of us called that. That would have been me. 3-2, 1-1 in the region. Going to Riverside, 5-1, 3-0 in the region. Riverside had another tough game with Trinity. I didn't see it being tough 2 years in a row, but they had another tough game with Trinity. They're playing host to Huntington. Who do you like here, Brandon?
So a little bit of history on this matchup. The last 2 years when they played, 2 years ago, they were a non-region game. Last year, they were put in the same region. Huntington wins the regular season both times, and then they meet again in the quarterfinals. Well, I think it might have been the semifinals 2 years ago. Either way, Riverside wins in the playoffs both years. I think the trend, at least for the regular season, continues. Huntington let me down last week in the Dog and Pony Show, but seeing as how Riverside has struggled against TCA and against Peabody, and whereas Huntington, I mean, I guess Milan just played good defense last week, but the week before, Huntington controlled Crockett County pretty well. I'm going to go with the Mustangs.
Hey, taking Huntington. Man, I wish you were in second place, Brandon. I wish you were tied. Well, you are in second place. I wish you were tied with me at first. I'm taking Riverside here, and I know what you're saying about Trinity, but I think this could be one of those matchup things. You know, Kentucky, a very subpar SEC team, plays, or SEC school, plays some teams tough. You saw they were able to pull it out.
Gymnastics
Ole Miss choked it up. I think Trinity, it's just a bad matchup for Riverside. I think Riverside's better. 3-0 in the region. Give me Riverside in this.
Now, let me get you correct. It's not gymnastics. They're a volleyball school. Auburn finally beat Kentucky in volleyball, I think, in like 15 years yesterday on Friday night. I was watching it when we got to South Bend on the ESPN app, you know, because you get these Airbnbs and you're like, well, what can you watch on this TV? And you just pull up the app, and that was the only thing on. So, anyway. But anyway, let's get back to football. We're not talking about volleyball or gymnastics. This is a
I've
tough
always
game.
been wondering what Tony Niehoff does in an Airbnb. Thank you for that.
Watching girls volleyball would have been like top 4 guesses.
It was like the free TV option or what was on the ESPN app. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? So, anyway, back to this game. Brandon's right. Riverside, state champions last year? Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
Huntington. They tend to beat each other at different times. I mean, playoffs, I don't know if the trend's going to continue, but it's just like back and forth, kind of like Alabama, Georgia in some ways. I mean, the average points per game this year so far, Riverside 32, Huntington 31. Riverside has scored more points but also given up less. So I like the statistics here in the home team. I'm going to stick with the home team and what's going on. Riverside's going to win this game in a close one, I believe.
Thank y'all for both picking that.
Region 7 3A, Westview undefeated 6-0, 3-0, going to Dyersburg 4-2 on the year, 2-1 in the region. Easiest pick in the world for me right here. We remember what Westview did to Dyer County. We also remember week 1 what Dyer County did to Dyersburg. Give me the Westview Simpsons. I will take Graham Simpson and company here to remain undefeated in the regular season.
I'd like to know how many high schools in America have a team that scored 373 points. Not many. They may be one of the top 15 scoring teams in the nation.
What did they allowed, like 14, 17 points?
27 points.
I can't believe it's that high. They had so many shutouts to start.
Yeah, it's unreal, and it's kind of like when his brother played. I was itching to go up and see him. I never made it, but I'm gonna have to go make and see this kid before he graduates. So Brandon, if you go up there, let me know. I may ride with you and annoy you for a while.
They'll come to Liberty if they stay in the same region.
Oh, they gonna play Liberty this year? Okay, well, good.
They already have Liberty one up there this year.
Yeah,
I did not know. I wasn't gonna pick that, but well, I'm with Chuck. We could ramble on about this, but Westview it seems to be on a mission to win the state championship this year in their region. I don't know if they will, but they're going to challenge for it. But they're going to beat Dyersburg for sure.
Yeah, I'm on board with that too. Westview is, I am now a believer since the Dyer County game in Westview. Looking forward to that matchup in week 11 with Covington, which, by the way, did y'all see that Covington and Haywood have put each other on their schedules on October 17th since they both lost the game last week? So they said, hey, we both lost the game. We both got October 17th open. Let's play. So they're going to play.
That'd be a good matchup.
Yeah.
Well,
so now Covington's chances of going into that game undefeated are a little bit a little more in danger now. But anyways, I do want to say this about Dyersburg, though. I mean, Chuck made the comparison, comparing scores, Westview over Dyer County in week 5.
Dyersburg, Dyer County is week 1. Sorry.
Yeah, and then Dyer County over Dyersburg in week 1. Dyersburg is playing better football now. I mean, unfortunately for Dyersburg, they've already lost to Covington. They're probably going to lose to Westview this week and secure that third spot. These 3 are by far better than the other 5 in the region, but Dyersburg's a better team than what they were 6 weeks ago. And they're going to dominate, and they're going to be, after this week, they're going to dominate and will be a team to be reckoned with until they meet Westview or Covington in the playoff.
You're taking Westview here?
Yeah, I'm taking Westview, but Dyersburg's playing better.
All right, Hall.
Also, to clarify something that Tony said earlier, Kirby Smart's only 1-6 against Alabama, so it's not like Georgia and Bama are beating each other. He got asked about that Saturday night in the post-game press conference. He said, the reporter said, so you're 1-6 against Alabama. Tell us just your thoughts on that. And his thought is, who else has got a better record than us? Everybody's won,
Yeah.
Lose. So there you go. All right, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a very, very fair point. The thing's like 42-3 over his past 45 games with all 3 losses to Alabama.
Right.
Yeah. Bad comparison. I wanted to make sure you're paying attention.
Was the first Saban assistant to beat him, though, I believe, was Kirby.
No, Jimbo was.
Jimbo Fisher was the first one to beat him.
Yeah.
Okay. Jimbo Fisher. All right. Next one here. Golf. This is you. This game. Where did it go? Hold on. All right.
Chester at Hardin County.
Sorry, I scrolled up too far. Chester at Hardin County. Chester County 3-3, 2-0 in the region. Hardin County 1-4, 0-2 in the region. If this were a couple of years ago, we'd say, "Gosh, Brandon, why is this thing even on here?" But different look this year.
This year we could also say the same thing.
It's a fair point.
We could.
Hardin County's a very young team. I talked to Hardin County super fan Bud Young, and very young team, have had a disappointing season by their standards. Hoff, what do you think here? Do they have some magic in them there in Hardin County?
I mean, it's possible. I think Hardin County could win this game. I mean, Hardin County disappointed me because I picked them to beat South Gibson. and they lost. Well, if you look at the common opponent, Chester County beat South Gibson, I think just last week. So Chester County's going to win this game. It's going to be like a 17-13 game or 17-10. It's not going to be like a huge high scoring affair, but I got Chester County.
I want to take Chester County too. Dwan Johnson's in his third season as a head coach, third season leading the Eagles. When he first went there, I wondered if it was going to fit because he played and for 14, 15 years was the defensive coordinator at Lexington, grew up in Lexington. He's a Lexington guy. And, I mean, this is like somebody growing up in Athens, Georgia, and playing for Georgia, being an assistant coach for Georgia, and he finally gets his first head coaching job at Georgia Tech or Florida or Auburn, and at one of the big rivals. But he's going to Chester County. He's building something. He already had athletes. We saw flashes of brilliance last year. But now we're starting to see some stuff get put together. I mean, he had a pretty good non-region schedule. That's why they're coming in at 3-3. But so far, they're getting it done. And I think it's going to happen again this week. They go to Hardin County, and honestly, I don't think it's going to be close.
All right, we move on here. Hoff, you're up. Jackson Christian, the JC, 5-1, only loss being to USJ, 2-0 in the region. Going to FACS, who's 3-1 on the year, but 1-0 in the region. Fax is hosting this game, Hoff. What do you think?
Chuck, you didn't pick the last game.
I didn't think he did either.
Chester County, dog.
I thought y'all had you done for Hardin.
You should have just gone ahead and put him down for it.
It's not how many people vote, Brandon. It's who counts the votes that matter.
And Brandon's the first pick for the Jackson Christian.
He's doing this right.
Yeah, Brandon, you got the first pick, Jackson Christian at FACS.
Yeah, and the main reason that I put this game on here is because if y'all had gone with me last year to watch the fourth quarter of this matchup at Ronnie Fowler Field, you would have seen a very large and athletic FACS team. And I think Jackson Christian won 42-7, 35-0, 35-7, something like that. And you're like, how did Jackson Christian beat this team so bad? Because they look too big and athletic to get beat like that. It looks like they're playing up to their potential so far this year with a 3-1 record. Now, this game may be closer this year, but I'm still going to take Jackson Christian. And they knocked out, last week, they knocked out Tipton Rosemark out of the region undefeateds. And this week they knock out whatever FAC.
What do you mean? What their
whatever their
mascot
is? Yeah, whatever their mascot is.
I'm not sure either. But Chuck.
This one, you're right. I watched that game last year on TV. They are big. I was surprised Jackson Christian dominated them like they did. I think they still get them pretty good. Jackson Christian is a good team. USJ is just a great team. Give me Jackson Christian.
Yeah, Jackson Christian is one of the better private schools, I guess in the last 5 or 6 years in our area, and they're undefeated except when they played USJ. And they haven't looked bad, except for maybe that game in the first half. So, Jackson Christian for sure.
All right, this next game is a hard one. This is me, right, Hoff?
You got this one.
4.3-3. They've got losses to Fairleigh, Copiah Academy out of Mississippi. Nobody knows anything about them. And then lost 26-28. Against Jackson Christian to open the season. Wins over Magnolia Heights, Tupelo Prep, and St. Benedict last week, 35-0. When they don't give up any points, they win. They have 3 shutouts on the year. Everything else is a loss for them. I'm going to go with USJ. USJ just looks incredible right now. I don't know how much of that game y'all watched. It was really the only game that was on social media on Worthy Road Studios this Friday. A lot of the games got moved up to Thursday, so I watched every single snap. USJ, even their second string looks really, really good. Quarterback is coming back this week. Corbin Howard, he'll be back for USJ. What my sources at USJ, hashtag my stepson, are telling me Corbin Howard will be back. So give me the Bruins bigly.
Yeah, Chuck, you're right. I mean, I've seen some of the Bruins in person this year. Maybe one of the best Bruins team, and I mean, I not in the history of the school, but certainly in recent years. I mean, they've really stepped it up and played to their potential. Like some
Sure, state
teams.
championship in 21.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is like, like the coaches have done a good job with his personnel, and he's getting everything out of the players he has. You know, and so kudos to the coaching staff because it's not just the players, it's the coaching staff that helps the team roll along. So USJ is going to definitely roll in this game. I'd say by at least 2 or 3 touchdowns.
All right, so I'm down by 9.
Mhm.
4 of those 9 are when I have picked USJ to lose.
It's not
Um,
good.
I'm running a risk here, and I legitimately think North Point's going to win this game, and it's because North Point. I mean, yeah, they lost to Jackson Christian last year and this year, and then they turn around and beat USJ, which USJ was still dealing with some of the injuries that they suffered against Jackson Christian, two or 3 weeks before when they played last year. North Point is in competition with Lausanne for the top spot in that region. USJ is in better position to compete for that, and week 11 is going to be awesome if USJ does win this game because it's going to set up a region championship game, assuming USJ gets past ECS in the next week or two after this game, because they're better this year. I don't know. I just feel like North Point has a good base to recruit from down there.
Mississippi.
In Mississippi and a little bit of that Shelby County area that a lot of the colleges like to go after too. And I think it's going to show. I mean, they're testing themselves with their non-region schedule. Really, they should have beaten Jackson Christian, and so maybe they should be 4-2. So I'm sticking with my streak. I'm going back to my streak and picking against USJ.
And you need to pick some games on us. So if you're going to pick some games, this one may be one that could happen.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Brandon going North Point here. I will say this. I've heard that, everybody's saying, look, they're better than that 3-3 record. North Point's a good team. So not the worst pick in the world, Brandon. Just happens to be wrong. All right, moving into our non-region game. South Gibson, 3-3 at Dyer County. Hoff, I think this one's you.
Yeah, it is. So South Gibson and Dyer County. I mean, South Gibson may be the best 3-3 team in our area. I mean, one of them. I'd have to go look in all the 3-3 teams. I don't have a.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good team. I mean, it's just they played a tough schedule, but Dyer County is the Choctaws are for real. I mean, they're legit. I mean, they're scored 212 points. South Gibson scored 134. Typically, the team that scores more points wins football games. So I'm going with the Choctaws.
Thank you, Booger McFarland. SEC Network reference there for everybody.
I know Booger, yeah, LSU guy.
Yeah. If we were picking this game 2 weeks ago, I would have taken South Gibson, no problem, even after the loss to USJ, because we talked last week on here about how, even though they lost, I was impressed at them holding Noah Spencer to 39 yards. I mean, this team has potential to be possibly the best defensive team in rural West Tennessee. But this is also the same team that went up 19-0 in Chester County last week and then gave up 28 straight points to lose on the road. They're going back on the road this week. It's their second road game of the year. And I think it's against a better Dyer County team than what they faced last week in Henderson and Chester. And I think the Choctaws scalped the Hornets.
Everybody taking Choctaws here for sure. I mean, I love the Hornets. A second favorite team, but yeah, we're gonna give me the Choctaws.
Okay.
All right, we move on to the next game. Have fun with this one.
Brandon's got this one.
The Westwood whatever's coming in on the season 2-3 going to Fayette Academy, going to Summerville, who is 1-4. Brandon put this one on the schedule for a reason, and he has to pick it first.
Well, I mean, I want to say Westwood is something like the Cowboys or something like that.
Really?
Or maybe Broncos or Mustangs. It seems like it's like a Western or a horse type thing.
I could totally see.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
think you're right. I saw the logo earlier. I think it's like a Mustang or something. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. A lot of times when you get these rural West Tennessee versus inner city Memphis games, the Memphis team comes out looking like $1 million. They win the intimidation factor, stepping off the bus. And then you get them out on the field. And there's just not a lot of discipline, not a lot of plan, not a lot of focus, not a lot of the intangibles that you need, the soft skills to win a football game. Whereas the rural West Tennessee team, a lot of times, a private school, is going to have the coach in it, and those guys will be disciplined. They may not be the most athletic, the toughest, the biggest, or whatever, but they're still going to know their assignments. They're going to play them. And because they do that, a lot of times that will be enough to knock off the physical God-given abilities that are coming in from Shelby County. And for that reason, I'm going to take the Vikings.
Your reasoning there, and would not agree with you more about all of that. Although I will say this, had some weird experiences at Fayette Academy with the Vikings on the baseball field. They have a nice stadium. It's a very nice place. Some of the people there are nice. Some of them are not. I don't know much about Westwood, but I know that they're going to win this game. Give me Westwood, the Westwood whatevers, maybe the Cowboys, maybe the Mustangs. No one could possibly know. Give me them in this.
The Westwood whatevers. Well, Brandon, you've really done yourself over these next two games. You know, this one and then the next one that we're picking. So, kind of reminds me of some stuff I put on the schedule last year.
But at least with mine, it's actually local.
Well, we had some anyway. You know, you're right. The logic that you said is legitimately possible. I like the people in Fayette Academy. I never had any weird experiences. The AD was always nice to me when I refereed soccer there. They're the home team, and I think that they may be a 3-point dog here because of the athletic ability of the other team. But I like the Vikings in this. Give me the Vikings.
All right, Tony. Finally, one of our first picks for going against one another. All right, here we go. This next game, Brandon, I had to look it up. That's actually what I was doing while y'all were picking. Stewart County, Owens going to Gibson County, who is also, neither team had looked very competitive anywhere this season that I have found looking at their scores. Who's up here?
They're both 0-6. I mean, like neither one scored. So
yeah, but I mean,
I'm
trying to find a competitive game and I can't do it.
I don't really think there is any.
It's your turn, Chuck.
Yeah, you're up, Chuck. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Lord. Stewart County coming to Gibson County. I have customers in Gibson County. I'm going back to the playbook. Give me Gibson County here, and I really don't know why.
You know, it's funny. We both kind of rely on the customer thing when we just have no idea. I mean, here's some facts for you. Both 0-6. Stewart County has scored a whopping 57 points and given up 241 points this year. Gibson County has managed to score 29 points and given up 273 points. So logic would say that Stewart County may win this game 10-5 or something like that. I don't know. But you know what? I'm going with the home team, and I have some customers in Gibson County too. Going with them.
So I was talking with a coach this week, and we were talking about Gibson County. And this coach was expecting before the season Gibson County to be considerably better than what they are this year. And instead of being considerably better than what they are considerably not better than what they could be. They are like he said this team, the way it's playing, could be on the level of where Gibson County was, about 12 years ago when they were going 4 or 5 years in a row without a win. So for that reason, give me the Stewart County Fighting Stewart.
It's a good one for you to pick against us. You know, that's a good strategy here, Brandon.
Yeah, that's why I was glad I was the last one to pick this one.
Well, I mean, you know, they've scored more points than Gibson County this year, so I almost flipped my original pick, but I'm sticking with my gut here, and I think the home team pulls it out somehow.
All right, somebody pull up our next game.
Bolivar at Southside, and I started us out. I can roll with it.
All right,
Bolivar at Southside. I don't know the records of the teams, but I think Southside's won like 1 or 2 games. Bolivar's won 1 or 2.
Bolivar is 3-2. Southside is 1-4.
Okay, there you go. You know, this is actually a really tough one to pick. I mean, you know, both teams play pretty good defense, don't give up a lot of points. I mean, there's a few games that's, you know, Bolivar can be a little more explosive. Southside's teams tends to keep the game at a lower score. I'm sticking with my Madison County people. I'm going to go with Southside here. You know, Southside is the home team. I believe either team could win this game. I don't think there's a big reason to say that either one's going to blow either one of them out. It's going to be a close game. I'm going with Southside. We lost Chuck.
Did we lose Chuck? All right.
We must have.
Then I'll go ahead and go with my pick, and then Chuck can pick when he gets back. So, and while we're waiting on him, I'll give a little bit of history on this. This has all the makings to repeat some history from about 8 or 9 years ago when Southside was going through a losing season. They had Bolivar for the last week of the last game of the year, and they go to Bolivar and they score 70 points, and they win 70 to like 40 something, I think, maybe 30 something. Like Bolivar still scored a good bit, but it was dwarfed by Southside 70 points. They had a young quarterback who was going to be the starter the next year. Coach went ahead and put him in to start. He threw for 4 or 5 touchdowns, and they just had a big old time that night. And I guess Bolivar was already out of the playoffs too, and they were focusing on basketball already. This has the makings of that kind of a game. But, I mean, just the way the Southside gave up the lead last week to Lexington. Southside was up on Chester County at halftime, and then they tied or within a score of them. And then Chester County scores 3 touchdowns after halftime. Southside has to put together a full 4-quarter game. They haven't done it all year. That's why they're only 1-4. Well, I'm sorry. They are 2-4 now.
Yeah.
Because I got clarification last week, and I may have mentioned it on last week. Southside gets the win for that 7-0 lead over Liberty when that game got canceled in the first quarter.
Really?
For whatever reason, Southside gets the win, Liberty gets that loss.
Maybe Liberty agreed to it, or I would doubt that, though.
I think it was because they never could reschedule it.
Oh.
So if you can't reschedule it and you tried, then the lead team with the lead just gets the win. So Southside's coming in at 2-4, 1-4 on the field in full games.
Yeah. You got to think that they're going to come around and play a full game eventually.
I mean, they're going to keep it close, and Bolivar definitely has its weaknesses. So they may not even just keep it close. They may actually have a decent lead going into halftime, and then it's up to Bolivar to try to close that gap some and then try to take the lead late. But, I mean, Southside just also has a hard time scoring. They scored 21 in the 24-21 loss last week, and that's the most they scored.
Yeah.
Whereas Bolivar can score 28 or 35. I don't know if they've done it every week this year.
No, they're kind of erratic. Yeah.
Let's see, 21.
I mean, it's a good pick for you to pick against us. I don't know what Chuck's going to do, but
I mean, with the exception of 21 in week 1 and a win over, I think, Fayette Academy that week, they scored 38, 36, 50. I'm sorry, 38-0. They got skunked by, I think, Dyersburg. And then they lost 56-6. Then they scored 26. So
They're pretty erratic, but that's a hard schedule there. The people
Yeah.
they're losing to.
Yeah, Southside, they're going to score probably at least 30 in this one. And if they score 30, they're going to win.
I would agree with that. Southside's got to play better defense to win this game.
Right.
Chuck said his internet went out.
Yeah, I just got that text. So,
We're going to finish it without him.
I mean,
We can. What we can do is finish our picks, and we can just get his picks texted in or whatever.
yeah, and then we can just update the stats.
That's what he said. He said just text them in. That's exactly what he said. So
There we go. All right.
So go ahead.
All right, so that's my pick for Oliver Southside. What about you?
I've got Southside. I think I picked it earlier. I started with it. I picked Southside. Yeah.
All right, I'm taking Bolivar.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll ask Chuck after the show. We'll get that later and see what he says. So next, Brandon, you start us out. We got Ashland, Mississippi at Middleton.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know, but that's what we're doing.
Middleton's coming in with a 1-4 record. According to what I found on Max Preps, Ashland is 0-4. This is not the first time that Middleton has played an over team from Mississippi this year. They opened the season against Thrasher. Oh, there he is.
He's
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. All right, give us.
We didn't pay AT&T.
We just went into the Ashland powerhouse game, but we were waiting on your Bolivar Southside
Okay,
pick.
Bolivar Southside here. Don't love this, but I'm going Bolivar.
Okay. I went Southside, so you and Brandon went Bolivar.
All right, and
All
I
right.
had begun to discuss a little bit of Middleton and Asheville, and
Yeah.
I'm just going to cut to the chase on this one so that we can get to the last game because that's going to be a fun discussion. I want to take Middleton because if there's one situation that Middleton thrives in, it's playing against teams from Mississippi that haven't won a game this year.
Okay. So Chuck
Yeah.
will be next.
Normally, I'll be honest with you, I don't look up a lot of things about schools from Mississippi, but they're pretty good in football, right? Like high school football, usually pretty good athletes. I would have thought they would have been better, but I did look this game up before my internet went out. I, too, am going to take Middleton. I don't think Ashland's very good.
Not so fast, my friend. Ashland will be victorious in this matchup, but I cannot tell you why. But the hump is spoken.
I can give you a good reason why they're playing Middleton.
Exactly. They're both not very good. Somebody's going to win, but we don't really know why. Neither one of us could really get a good answer here. But I'm going to pick up a game on you boys on this one. I can tell you that.
All right.
Here we go. Now, this is the game of the week. JCM traveling to Northside, as they really technically travel everywhere. JCM undefeated on the season. The most fun team to root for all year long, considering the Milan win, the win against Southside, the way but really it's that Milan win. Going to Northside. This is for the Commissioner's Cup. Whoever wins this game will have Jeff Wall land on the field in a helicopter and present them a trophy. County Commissioner Jeff Wall, your brethren, Tony, very nice man. This is a huge game.
I'll be out there too, sir. I'm
you
going
gonna be in the
to be a part
helicopter?
of that since I'm actually went to JC. Yeah, I went to JCM, so I may be putting Jeff out of the way. So let me do that.
Good luck with that. Are you going to be in the helicopter?
I'm just kidding. No, I'm not going to boot him out of the way, but I'm going to go out there. I'm planning on going. I've wanted to see a JCM game all year. Schedule didn't work out
can't
where I
pick
could
it against
go.
'em.
4 kids. You got the first pick here, so let's see what you think first on this one.
Is Northside in your district, Tony?
Fair question.
It's open enrollment, so I mean, I guess anybody could be in
No,
anybody's
I mean
district.
for your county commission.
No, the only schools in my district are Jackson Christian and TTA, and USJ is across
That's
the
why you
street.
never pick USJ. Okay, so
I'll pick USJ almost every week.
this one's hard because I think Northside's going to win. Because I think it's going to be such a raucous environment. I've seen years where everybody thought Southside was going to beat Northside for the Commissioner's Cup, and I picked Northside, and Northside beat Southside, and they won the Commissioner's Cup. That was Bass and I were calling games, I want to say 2 years ago. Man, this one's hard. JCM undefeated. That's going to be such a tough environment there at Northside. Everything on the line. It's going to be such a fun game. Cougars haven't lost. Coach Turner's the real deal. I love what he shares on social media. Give me the Cougars here.
So JCM is 6-0 for the first time since the knees, I believe. I didn't look this up. I'm going off just my memory, unless Brandon, you can say otherwise. I do not think they've been that since I went to school there.
I haven't looked
shortly
it
after.
up, but I'll look it up this week though.
I mean, the internet doesn't even go back that far on all these websites. You'd have to like go to the library and look in the archives, or I'm not sure how that would be. But Brandon, you can tell me a good way to do it. I'd love to research some of that. It would bring back some memories. Like I said, I'll be attending this game unless for some reason I cannot. And I really do think it's not just a rivalry game. It's going to be a good football game. I mean, JCM is just like you said, as well coached. Coach Turner's done a great job. And I got to go with the Cougars. I'm going to pick them. I mean, this team is on a mission. They're going to go 7-0 and beat their rivals, Northside. They've always been JCM's rival. It's going to come back and full circle, and we're going to take them out.
Actually, Tony, you bring up something that I was going to ask you during this discussion. As a JCM graduate, like, where does Northside rank on the list of rivals? Because I mean, I would assume, being an old school guy, I think we can call ourselves, seeing as how we graduated in the previous century, I think we can call ourselves old school now. I would think Haywood would be number one on that list. So,
I would say football wise, Northside was always the team that we like to beat up on more. I think in the 90s we would have their number, but they would sneak up and beat JCM every once in a while.
right.
So locally, it was definitely more Northside JCM. We're talking about Jackson. Now, Haywood definitely was a big rival. You're right. But I mean, there's more sports than just like football. I mean, we had a great soccer rivalry back then. I mean, it was a big matchup back when Stevie Jones was the quarterback and he also played soccer. I had to guard that dude. He was really good at football and soccer. I mean, like, Northside had an all-around good baseball program back in the day. JCM had a really good baseball program back in the 90s. I think we pretty much had them on most sports, but Northside was competitive with us. I don't think many schools in our area had as well-rounded of a sports program to compete against us in general. So Northside was always kind of, and you can tell when you see social media, you got people like Ryan Porter who went to Northside, and there's old JCM guys like me and others that we'll talk trash to this day.
Yeah, there was a lot of, I mean, at the county or at the Commissioner's Cup Media Day at Rockendo right before the season started, you had Ryan Porter there as a Northside alum. You had Mayor Massey there as a JCM alum. With the exception of me, apparently every single media member there was Southside alum. I'm still waiting for Liberty to get to work its alumni up into, kind of that.
But their
that
alumni
level.
is younger school.
Yeah. I mean, their oldest, their first class is, just now getting into their mid to late 30s. So
yeah,
they're still trying to get there. But I don't know. I mean, now to actually get to the game, am I the first one to pick on this one?
We've already picked. You're the last.
You already picked. Okay.
We both picked JCM. So if you want to take a game on us, take the Indians, I guess.
Man, I wrote a preview story today for this game, and both teams have so many athletes that you put the ball in their hands, they can score at almost any given moment from any given yard line on the field. But the best playmaker on the field is number 25 in the blue and gold, who was in Tuscaloosa last week on a recruiting trip, watching Bama, Georgia. The week before, he was in Missouri getting his fourth SEC offer. Javonte Smith.
Brandon?
He's a junior.
Okay.
So Javonte Smith, number 25, the receiver, I think he's going to catch 2, maybe even 3 touchdowns, maybe run for 1. And I think he leads the Indians to the win. Put me down for Northside.
It could happen. I mean, Northside is a good football team, probably one of the best tests JCM's had all year, but this JCM team is special. I just feel like sometimes you have teams like the year Alabama threw that long Hail Mary pass, Tua threw. That team was just special. They found a way to win. They may not have been the best team that day, but they found a way. I think JCM's going to find a way.
The very first time I watched Northside Southside for the Commissioner's Cup, Southside had a much better record going in. Northside was right around 500, and Southside may have been, 6-2 or something on the season. But it was at Northside, and there were, people dressed up. They were, tailgating before the game. It was a big deal. It's it's going to be a crazy environment. I mean, I think smart money would be on JCM. You know, they haven't lost a game. They have the best win of anybody against Milan in Milan, but still that environment's going to be tough. I'm afraid Brandon's going to be right here, but I can't go against Coach Turner and the Cougars.
Speaking of the Commissioner's Cup, I do want to clarify something. If JCM wins this, they're 3-0, they get the Commissioner's Cup. If Northside were to win this, that does not clinch the Commissioner's Cup for them because they still have to play Southside. If Northside were to win, and Southside, while you were out with your internet outage, Chuck, I clarified for Tony, Southside technically has a win over Liberty now. They went back and said that's a win for Southside. They were up 7-0 like 3 minutes into the game, and for whatever reason, Southside gets that win, Liberty gets that loss. But if Northside wins this week, then Southside is essentially playing to try to force a three-way tie for the commissioner.
What do they do in that instance?
It's very possible a member of the administration at Jackson-Madison County Schools asked me, what do you think we do in that situation, just to see what I think would be logical to do? And I think that they're going to go with what I thought would be logical would be just let last year's champion keep the trophy. So
we may have to discuss some rules in the commission for this. This is a point like points for or head to head, or have some official rules.
they might. I mean, they got a few weeks to come up with of course, if JCM wins, it just saves them from that situation. Or if Northside were to win twice, it saves them from that situation. But they may be coming up with some tiebreaker lists to adopt for just that occasion.
Well, I mean, I'll talk to Jeff about that. You need some sort of tiebreaker rule. That's kind of silly because it was bound to happen. When
come on,
teams,
Tony, you're a big soccer guy. You're okay with ties.
Fair point, Tony.
Well, in the playoffs, you don't have ties. So but during the regular season,
it's a Commissioner's Cup.
Well, it's a championship, so you got to have a tiebreaker so that you can't tie for the championship. So. Well, listen, guys, we got to do our SEC game. So far, we've only picked 2, and we, I think, I don't know the standings on that, but the game we're going to do this week, we're going to University of Central Florida at Florida. Florida is a 2.5-point dog at home to the Central Florida Knights, I think.
Yes, they are the Golden Knights. What's Central Florida's record this year?
I'm not sure, but they have KJ Jefferson, who used to play for
How are you
Arkansas.
Going to pick this game and you don't know the records of both teams?
Going against Colorado. Colorado was a 14-point dog.
Florida's
Florida,
2-2.
and they got blown out by Colorado. This is an easy pick here. You're getting Florida in points. Florida wins the game outright because you're getting 2.5 points. This is an easy pick for the Gators. Metzger is back. He looked. I like DJ Lagway. I think he'll be an okay player. I don't think he'll be near as good as other great young quarterbacks in the SEC, mostly Nico. But I think he'll be fine. Napier cannot afford to lose many more games and make it through the season. Yeah, this is Florida and getting points.
I actually think that Central Florida is going to win this game. I really do believe. I think Napier is they're falling apart, man. It's a dumpster fire there. I mean, like they beat the Mississippi State, but Mississippi State's awful. I mean, I think most ACC teams would beat Mississippi State. I don't really have much faith in the Gators, so I'm gonna go with Central Florida. And even though they're 2.5-point dogs, I'll take them.
I've seen Florida twice this year. And after seeing them those 2 times, the only situation I could see myself picking Florida to win this year is when the week they're playing Florida State or if they play Gainesville Middle School. Otherwise, give me the Golden Knights. They're going to win, and then they're going to claim another national championship after that win.
Yeah, Alabama did split a natty with them, didn't they, Brandon?
Alabama did not split the national championship with them. They did not.
It's going to show up on Wikipedia like the
There's going to be an asterisk.
All right, there you have it. We'll do this again next week. Everybody have a great week.
See y'all.